Good day everybody, Oldhammer here. So thanks to the community we have a new tool which allows overclocking of the BC-250 CPU. It's based on SMU, the commands which work directly with the processor. Here you can see the GitHub project, and I strongly suggest you read all the information on this project and all the wordings which are there because it's important. So first things, we start with the command to install the uh, stress testing CPU tool. It is not absolutely necessary, but it is good to have for our project. So you see the command which I applied for starting to install the package. It will take some time, and after it's completed you will see something like that. Alright, stress testing tool has been installed. After that we need to reboot the system using the command which you see. I'm gonna insert all the step-by-step commands in the description of this video so you can easily use them, copy-paste them in your overclocking. Alright, next step is not a must, it's just a verification step to verify that pipx is installed. So after you run first command, you see that it's installed, then you verify the version of the pipx. Alright, so next step is just to install the tool itself, the SMU management tool. This is the command you have to run, and then it takes some time, and then it will be installed on your Bazzite system. I'm using Bazzite for my test. Next step is to check the tool is running. This is the command to see that the program is running. You see it's having some options. So now we're gonna test the initial overclock. I set 3800 MHz and standard voltage of 1.2 volts. So program start testing step by step from the base clock of 3.5, and then slowly every 100 MHz it's going in steps, applying a little bit extra voltage until the set 3.8 GHz target with the final voltage 1200 millivolts. If the initial short stress testing passed, we can continue to the next step. If initial stress testing is not passing, there is an error. You will have to increase the voltage slightly or to decrease the frequency which you pick. In our case, everything went fine and the initial stress testing completed. So after these steps, the overclock is not applied. As you see, I'm using CPU-X tool, which has good monitoring for the CPU state, and also it has built-in tool for testing. So I am starting now the stress test in the CPU-X, and you see that the overclock is not applied. The CPU still remains for a moment at 3.5 GHz. So let's go to the next step and test some more overclocking. I'm stopping now the stress testing tool, and then we're gonna run another command to go a little bit higher with the settings. So now I picked 3.9 GHz and I'm applying 1225 millivolts, and then let's see if the stress test is successful. While the system is testing my new settings, I want to emphasize very important notice. Please avoid at all costs to apply voltage above 1300 millivolts, because you may damage your CPU. So it's very important, never apply voltage above 1300 millivolts when you are playing with the overclock of your BC-250 CPU. Okay, so another important thing is that the same way you can pick different settings. You can increase the frequency of the CPU, you can decrease the voltage if you would like to do some undervolt, but you need to play until you are satisfied when the initial stress testing is completed. As soon as the initial stress testing is completed, we can fix the setting and try to do more testing. So now I'm applying the 4 gigahertz and I'm applying 1.2 volts, 1200 millivolts, and I'm using prefix K at the end of the command, which means that the settings will keep. They will keep. They will not reset after the initial stress testing, because without prefix K at the end of the command, settings will be only saved in your overclock config file, but they will stop being applied as soon as the stress testing is completed. You will return to your stock 3.5 gigahertz maximum boost clock. The only way you can leave the settings on is by using the prefix K at the end of the command, so it will run the test and maintain your settings. The one you picked up, they will maintain until the reboot. Okay, so initial testing is completed. I'm gonna start now the thorough stress test of the CPU. It will last 300 seconds. You can see now in the CPU X the overclock is applied and CPU is running at 4 gigahertz. It still is not 100% guaranteed that these settings are stable and they will not create any issues, but it is already next step in testing, meaning that right now the CPU is 100% loaded, and if it's very unstable, it will crash during this test. If after running the stress testing for 300 seconds, 5 minutes, it will remain stable without any crash, we can continue to the next step. Of course, I'm not gonna make you wait for 5 minutes, and I'm gonna stop the stress testing so we can continue further in our tutorial. Of course, we need not to forget that we can use the same tool not to overclock the CPU, but to do undervolt and reduce a lot power consumption and heat. So now I'm going to undervolt the CPU. I picked stock frequency of 3.5 gigahertz and I'm going to 1 volt voltage and I'm going to apply it and check if the initial stress testing will pass, and we will save a lot of watts, and it will result in much lower temperatures when the CPU is running at full boost of 3.5 gigahertz stock frequency. Okay, now when the initial testing of the undervolt is completed, I'm gonna run it again using the prefix K to save the settings, and I'm gonna use it as my base point for testing. So I will run a game. I picked up Black Myth Wukong benchmark to test the base performance of the CPU. We will see also much lower temperatures. So now I'm running one more time the test. You see that CPU is running at its stock frequency, and after the testing completed and settings are saved, they are kept, I'm gonna run the game benchmark to see the performance before the applying the overclock. Like that we can see if there is any sense of overclocking the CPU and what it will add to our FPS or performance And my plan is to run a thorough testing later to see the benefits of overclocking the CPU. Right now I'm launching the Black Myth Wukong benchmark. I'm gonna use very low settings in order not to bottleneck the game with the GPU. So I'm starting the game now. My idea is to run the game at 1280 by 720p in order to load the CPU to its maximum. For the graphical settings I will use FSR 50% resolution scaling and a lowest graphical preset. In order to be able to replicate the same test later, I will apply the same settings, 50% of super resolution. I will keep the frame generation on just because it gives extra load to the CPU. And for the resolution it will be 720p as I mentioned earlier. So now I will allow you to watch the test and then we go to the next step. Alright, so we managed to obtain 163 FPS in the game test, and now I'm going to apply overclock of 4 GHz and 1225 millivolts, which had passed initial testing. I'm not sure if it will run properly, so let's try to run the 4 GHz setting, and I use prefix K to keep this frequency and voltage after completion of a quick test by SMU tool program. And I want to remind one more time that the settings we apply will not remain after we reboot the system. So if the system crash, the settings will not apply. So now you see in CPU-X that processor speed is being adjusted by the SMU tool. Every step you can verify in CPU-X core speed values. Now the program is testing 3.9. Next step will be 4 gigahertz. Alright, so now the 4 gigahertz is being tested. We're almost done for next step. Okay. Oh, ulala. So this is what happens when we apply too high frequency or voltage is not enough. So I'm gonna reboot now. And go to some lower setting. So I decided to go to 3.85 to add 10% extra frequency, and I will use 1150 millivolts as a safe voltage just to be able to run the test, and later on I'm gonna sit and play further to find the best sweet spot with the highest clocks and lowest voltage, but it will be not in this video probably. Okay, while the settings, my new settings are being applied, I would like to mention very important thing that while playing with your CPU overclock, you need to make sure that your cooling is adequate, that you have a good cooling of your BC-250, that fan is strong enough and it's not overheating or it's not running hot before you even started with the overclocking, because otherwise there is only sense that you do some undervolting. You should always use voltage below the standard 1200 millivolts in order to avoid creating extra heat. So it's important not to forget that cooling is the essential, and without proper cooling we should not increase too high frequency and voltage, otherwise system will just overheat and throttle, and the chip will degrade, and it will make worse than good. Okay, so settings are applied. Now I'm gonna start again the game benchmarking tool. Same settings, lowest graphical preset, 50% FSR, 720p. Alright, so we see 7 extra FPS, which is around 4 to 5%. It is not a bad start, and we can work further in order to squeeze maximum from our board, remaining cool, and that's very good tool. So one last step is you have to apply the command which you see on the screen to start the overclock tool on the boot of your BC-250. It's very important that you make sure that you tested properly the settings before running this last command, because after that, every time you start your BC, the overclock will be applied and the CPU will run in overclocked condition. So now you see the settings are there. My next thing is just to reboot Bazzite to the Steam UI and show you that after running the last command, the service will start on every boot and the overclock will be applied. So now I'm gonna show you that in CPU X you could see that the clocks are there. Next is to reboot, and I'm gonna run again the game just to show you that in Steam UI, in the game mode, the metrics which are built in, they will record our new settings of 3.85 gigahertz, meaning that we will get a little bit extra performance from our board, which is always good. Okay, so before the end of this video, I would like to thank you for your patience. I hope that tutorial was clear. It would help you, and see you in the next videos. Thank you for watching. See you guys.